What do I do now? What do I do next? How do I know that what I'm doing is what I'm supposed to be doing? That's the burning question. What hails you? If you're trying to find your why, Simon Sinek's famous for his find your why, right? But if you think of why as an acronym for an even more powerful question, what hails you? My name is Weston Brandon. My core message is that clarity comes through committed movement. When I was 23 years old, my wife was hospitalized when she was pregnant with my son at 25 weeks. I was in sales at the time and I was crushing it. I had made President's Club, got a promotion, was making good money, like all of the material versions of what I thought success looked like I had. And I felt pretty successful. But when my wife was hospitalized, all that kind of came into question. After she'd been in the hospital for about a week, they had to do an emergency C-section. He was starting to come out breech. So I got a phone call from my wife, and she says, "You better get up here because they're not waiting for you." So I drove my old 97 Dodge as fast as I could to get up there. And my son was born at 26 weeks. Luckily, miraculously, he just needed a CPAP mask to help him breathe. Unfortunately, though, 2 weeks after that, my wife passed away in my arms on the floor of our bathroom. She had a pulmonary embolism, which is a blood clot that gets stuck in your lungs, and she could no longer absorb oxygen. So I was left seemingly in that moment alone with this baby, tiny little baby that I could hold in my hands. He weighed 1 pound, 13 ounces when he came out. I realized I couldn't do the job that I had. I had a baby to take care of, and I was broken. I was a completely broken man. I'd lost the person that I cared the most about. And I had to lean on my family, my friends, my in-laws. There were so many people that were there to help me, thankfully, but I didn't feel like I could stand on my own 2 feet. I needed an overhaul. While I can't tell them what they're supposed to do with their life, I do know how to figure that out. And I wrote a book about that. I call it The Overhaul. And The Overhaul is basically my story from my perspective of having to overhaul my own life. And now I go around trying to help people understand how to overhaul their own. I came up with this system, Drive, when I really sat back and figured out how I rebuilt my life after I lost my wife. How I was able to lean on the people that loved me the most to support me, that gave me the space to work this so I could figure out what to do with my life and I could figure out what hailed me. Drive is an acronym that stands for Discover, Resolve, Invest, Visualize, and Elevate. This is a system, not a step-by-step process. This is something that you live every day, every week, every month. You continue to redo this system over and over and over. It's a rare man indeed that's willing to dive into the ugly days of his past to figure out why he thinks the way that he does. But it's a rare man still that decides that he's going to do something about it. You make the person who has achieved the success that you want be who you are now. How does that version of me think? How does that version of me believe? How does that version of me see the world? Make that happen now.